The nation is under siege.
Don't wake me up. Don't wake me up. Hey, don't wake me up.
Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance will kill you.
Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 18 of Uncle Neal's Neighborhood. I am your host, Uncle Neal, a.k.a. Neal Fox. And that was a song I wrote in the 1990s. It's from my Hotel Del Swell album. And it's kind of appropriate for, a whole host of topics. Don't Wake Me Up. Seems to be the theme song for a lot of people these days. The problem is we're at a crossroads on this planet, and we need all the help we can get. So it's time for you motherfuckers to wake the hell up. Of course, I'm not talking to my usual listeners, but there are an awful lot of people still walking around with their heads in the sand, thinking somebody will handle it. It's too much for me. What can one person do? And that's the definition of the trap. Thinking you can't do anything. As we all know from what Einstein said, it's not the bad people in the world, I'm paraphrasing now, it's not the bad people that we have to worry about, it's all those good people who did nothing. We always wonder, where were all the good Germans during World War II? Well, the problem was they didn't speak up. When they saw little telltale signs of things going wrong, if they spoke up then, if enough of them spoke up then, our history would be quite different. Would have saved millions of lives. But they kept their mouths shut because it wasn't happening to them. And then by the time they saw what was really going on, it was a little too late, because then when they spoke up, their lives were in jeopardy. So the most important lesson we can learn from history is don't do nothing. Nothing is the wrong thing to do. Do something, anything, except don't do nothing. We're looking at China right now in this particular episode. There was a video that went viral just a few weeks ago. It was the skyline at night of Shanghai, and you could hear people screaming and crying because they were being starved by the communist Chinese government. The Chinese government has this policy of zero COVID. So if they find one case, they lock down a whole city. Millions of people locked in their apartments with surveillance cameras all over the place and the doors with sensors on them to see if anybody was leaving to get some food. But it can't happen here. No. Civilized countries like the US and Canada and Australia and New Zealand, we're all civilized. No tyrant could walk in and take over. We have constitutions, we have laws, we have democracy. And this scene in Shanghai really touched me. I mean, it would touch anyone who saw it. You hear these people screaming. These poor people could not get out for food. It went on for well over a month. They're still in partial lockdown as of this date, which is in June already. Do you think the Chinese government would be so bold if everyone in China had a gun? That's exactly what our Second Amendment here in the U.S. is for. No, sorry, Joe Biden, it's not for hunting deer. It's for keeping tyrants like you in check. So right now, the Democrats and the rhinos are all gathering their strength to put in these things called red flag laws, which is totally unconstitutional. It's just a way to incrementally take away all our guns. Here's a little bit from the Tucker Carlson show.
So after the killings in Buffalo and Uvalde a few weeks ago, you began to hear people on television talk about something called red flag laws. The government, they informed us, could actually end mass shootings tomorrow simply by taking the guns away from mass shooters before they commit mass shootings. It's not complicated. In fact, it's such an obvious solution that you had to wonder why we weren't already doing that. Who does want to prevent mass shootings? Well, only the gun lobby. Everybody else cares about children. So a lot of Americans, not surprisingly, now say they want red flag laws. And why wouldn't they? Like supporting Black Lives Matter, or fighting climate change, or getting the COVID shot, or standing with the brave people of Ukraine. Red flag laws seem like one of those ideas that no decent person could possibly oppose. You want crazy people to have guns? Of course you don't. Who would? So naturally you're for red flag laws. And in fact, we may soon get red flag laws across the country. So what would that mean if we do? Well, two things you should know. First, red flag laws will not end mass shootings, but red flag laws will end due process. Due process is a simple concept, but it's the key to everything that is good about America. In our system of justice, citizens cannot be punished without first being charged with a crime. Politicians cannot just decide to hurt you, throw you in handcuffs, lock you in jail, seize your property, simply because they don't like how you think or how you vote. No. Before they punish you, they have to go through a formal process in which they describe which specific law you broke and exactly how you broke it. They have to prove it. For serious crimes with big penalties, the government has to convince a group of your fellow citizens first. It's called a grand jury. And this government must convince them that you deserve to be punished or they cannot proceed. None of this is new. This is the way we've done things in America for more than 200 years. And it's exactly why we have and have always had the fairest justice system in the world. People move to this country from all over the globe to benefit from it. But red flag laws will end this. Under red flag laws, the government doesn't have to prove you did anything wrong in order to strip you of your most basic rights. All that's required to punish you is a complaint, possibly even an anonymous complaint, in which somebody says you seem dangerous. Now, that complaint doesn't come from a grand jury. It can come from anyone, including someone who hates you or someone who simply doesn't like your politics. It doesn't matter because no jury will ever see it. On the basis of that unproven complaint, you lose your freedom and your ability to defend yourself and your family. Now, how could that possibly happen in this country? Well, the Supreme Court has said unequivocally that it can't happen here. A year ago, the Supreme Court ruled in a case called Caniglia versus Strom. Police in Rhode Island had seized the personal firearms of a 68-year-old man whose wife had called in a complaint against him after they had an argument. That man had committed no crime. He'd never been convicted of a crime, and he was judged by doctors to be sane. And yet the authorities took away his guns anyway. He sued under the Fourth Amendment, and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. The result was not even close. The Supreme Court sided with the gun owner in that case in a rare 9-0 decision. That means that every justice, liberal and conservative, agreed that authorities cannot just seize your property or throw you in jail because they don't like the way you look or because someone is mad at you. So red flag laws are unconstitutional, period.
So how can they get away with passing something so unconstitutional? It's simple, really. You need to have some sort of an incident involving the death of children, basically, either by some madman who just randomly comes in and starts shooting people up, or possibly something staged. Maybe the FBI had a hand in it. It's always possible. Don't think that's a crazy idea. It's happened many times. It's no conspiracy theory that the FBI and the CIA have been involved in killing innocent Americans over and over again for various reasons. I'm not going to go into specific incidents. It's easily found anywhere online. But once you get everybody riled up, my God, they're killing children. Well, who wouldn't get emotional over that? And then the Democrats step in and start saying, we got to outlaw guns. We got to take away the AR-15 assault rifle. And then you hear the press saying over and over again, we got to ban weapons of war. Well, let's stop lying about this. AR-15 is not an assault weapon. It's not a weapon of war. It's not an automatic weapon. An automatic weapon is one where you pull the trigger and hold it down and it keeps firing bullet after bullet. That's a weapon of war. That's an automatic rifle. The AR-15 is a semi-automatic, which means every time you pull the trigger, it fires one bullet. Then you have to release it, pull the trigger again, fires one more bullet. It's not automatic. It's not a weapon of war. There are some really serious reasons to be protected. One very clear one is the World Economic Forum. You know, the people behind the Great Reset, Klaus Schwab. Well, here are some thoughts from his current top advisor, a guy named Yuval Noah Harari. This is what they have in store for us.
Science is not really about truth. It's about power. I think maybe in a couple of decades when people look back, the thing they will remember from the COVID crisis is this is the moment when everything went digital. And if this was the moment when everything became monitored. That we agreed to be surveyed all the time, not just in authoritarian regimes, but even in democracies. And maybe most importantly at all, this was the moment when surveillance started going under the skin. Because really we haven't seen anything yet. I think that the big process that's happening right now in the world is hacking human beings, the ability to hack humans, to understand deeply what's happening within you, what makes you go. And for that, the most important data is not what you read and who you meet and what you buy, it's what's happening inside your body. So we had these two big revolutions, the computer science revolution, or the infotech revolution, and the revolution in the biological sciences. And they are still separate, but they are about to merge. They are merging around, I would say, the biometric sensor. It's the thing, it's the gadget, it's the technology that converts biological data into digital data that can be analyzed by computers. And having the ability to really monitor people under the skin, this is the biggest game changer of all.
I don't think that the question of, is very interesting or very central. It has been central in Western civilization because of some kind of basically theological mistake made thousands of years ago. But it's a misunderstanding of the human condition.
We have all this still myth of free will, that everything we choose is of our own free will.
And this is a myth that served us well for a couple of centuries, but now it's becoming dangerous. You don't have any answer in the Bible what to do when humans are no longer useful to the economy. You need completely new ideologies, completely new religions, and they are likely to emerge from Silicon Valley or from Bangalore and not from the Middle East. And they are likely to give people visions based on technology. Everything that the old religions promised, happiness and justice and even eternal life, but here on earth with the help of technology and not after death with the help of some supernatural being.
Now keep in mind, this is one of the top advisors of Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum, the people with the Great Reset who want to reset the entire world in their image. It wouldn't be quite that scary if it wasn't for the fact that dozens and dozens of politicians all over the world are members of the World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab has this program for young leaders to be input into all the governments of the world, and they are in many instances. Also, major corporations are falling in line with these folks. So, do you wonder why they might want to disarm the population of the world? The people in China are being surveilled within an inch of their lives. It's already starting to happen in other parts of the world. And that's why I wrote A Message from Shanghai. There are a lot of people that still don't know what's going on. We have to wake them up. And I thought writing a song is one of the best ways to do it. I'm going to play you my song right now. I'm going to end the show with it. And I urge you to go see it on YouTube, where I have the video, which is getting great reactions. People love the song, but of course, I have the usual problem of getting around the YouTube censors. I also have it on Rumble, and it's on Spotify. You can stream it on many, many, many channels, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon. We need to get the message out. It can happen here, especially if good people do nothing. Here it is, A Message from Shanghai.
Until our leaders fear us all was written all across the prison wall. Don't look for reason in their eye. We got a message from Shanghai. They tried to wipe out every voice, make it seem we have no choice. We wait in silence to reply, awakened by a message from Shanghai. No more locked inside ourselves. Arrive. The flame of life still burning deep inside. Their plan was hidden in plain sight. So one by one we joined the fight. We watched our numbers multiply. Got a message from Shanghai. tried in vain to justify. We have the message from Shanghai. No more. This is where it ends. No more. Hiding in the corner, praying for a license to survive. Life means more than being just alive. And from this day we all are free. Raise the banner high for all to see. We will not bend, we won't comply. We heard the message from Shanghai, and from this day we all are free. From this day we all are free. Raise the banner high for all to see. We will not bend, we won't comply. We heard the message from Shanghai.
We will not bend, we won't comply. Seriously, go over to youtube.com/Neal Fox and scroll down a bit, find the message from Shanghai. Give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't. YouTube is already canceling some of my subscriptions without telling me. They have no reason to do that other than censorship. And if you want to help support what I'm doing, go over to therealnealfox.com. That's Neal with an A. I've got merch over there that I've created myself. I've got music. You can stream things. You can buy things. You can help me out. You can leave me a tip. Yeah, buy me a cup of coffee, whatever. Or become a patron at patreon.com/Neal Fox. And remember, if you're not feeling so good, get out there and find someone who could use a little help. It's the best way to help yourself. Love you guys. Bye-bye.